Today's experiment is reactivities of some alkyl halides. So the objective of this experiment is which substrate, that means these are the alkyl halides we're going to test here, undergo the SN1 reactions, and which alkyl halides will undergo SN2 reaction and how fast are they. So materials and chemicals used for this experiment: sodium iodide in acetone, silver nitrate in ethanol, 2-chlorobutane, 2-bromobutane, 1-chlorobutane, 1-bromobutane, tertiary-butyl chloride, allyl chloride, benzyl chloride, bromobenzene, bromocyclohexane, bromocyclopentane, test tube and test tube rack, pipettes, test tube clamp, measuring cylinder, thermometer, hot plate, and a water bath. Chemical waste. All the solutions of this experiment will go to the halogenated waste, and make sure you are going to remove the label from the test tube and put it in the regular trash can. And these glass pipettes, after using, they should go to the glass bin. So we already learned in the lecture that the reactivities of alkyl halides in substitution reactions depend on two important factors. First is reaction conditions and the other is the substrate structure. So we're going to examine different substrates in basically different conditions, two different conditions, and one will be under SN1 and one will be under SN2 reactions. So part A of this experiment, which is sodium iodide in acetone. So as you can see here, sodium iodide is dissolved in acetone, right? So I will add this acetone into the different test tubes, right? And then I'm gonna add my different substrates. As you can see, these are different substrates. I'll come to this part a little bit in detail later. So basically, the reagent composed of sodium iodide in acetone is useful in classifying these alkyl halides according to their reactivity in the SN2 reaction. Now we know that iodide ion is an excellent nucleophile and acetone is a polar aprotic solvent. So the tendency to form the precipitate increases the completeness of the reaction. Now sodium iodide and potassium iodide are soluble in acetone. So this is sodium iodide, or instead of this potassium iodide, they are soluble in acetone. But the corresponding bromides and chlorides, they are insoluble. So they will form a precipitate, right? So if they will form a precipitate, so they are coming out from the reaction. Now, according to Le-Chatrier's principle, the precipitation of the product from the reaction solution drives the equilibrium forward. So more and more substituted product will form because sodium chloride and or sodium bromide, they are insoluble and form the precipitate. More precipitation is formed, equilibrium will shift towards the right hand side, and more and more product will form. So kind of this is the example of substitution, SN2 substitution reaction conditions. So let's start part A. And the first step is to add the sodium iodide in acetone, 1 milliliter of basically sodium iodide in acetone in all the test tubes. So I have added in first test tube, this is 1 milliliter of the solution. And similarly, I'm going to add 1 milliliter of the solution in each test tube. So now I have added 1 milliliter in each test tube of the solution sodium iodide in acetone. So these are the 10 different alkyl halides as per the experiment, as you can see in the experiment. And number 1 is 2-chlorobutane, number 2 is 2-bromobutane, and so on. So the 10th number is basically 2-bromocyclopentane. Okay, and based on that, I have labeled all my test tubes. Now my objective is to add 2 drops of these alkyl halides in these test tubes. So 2 drops of 2-chlorobutane in number 1, and then 2 drops of 2-bromobutane in number 2, and then so on. when you will add the 2 drops of these alkyl halides into these test tubes, make sure you are going to change the pipette every time. Otherwise, you will get the contamination in the samples and then you will spoil your results. Here I am going to add 2 chlorobutane, just 2 drops. Now off the camera, I'm gonna add all these alkyl halides into these test tube just to save time. Test tube, which is 2 chlorobutane. So I'm gonna shake it, and you need to basically see the observations at room temperature if there is any change in that, any precipitate or cloudiness. I've already turned the stopwatch on. Right, that was the first case at room temperature. This is second. Number 2, this is 2 bromobutane at room temperature. You can see the time in the stopwatch. Number 3, 1 chlorobutane. Number 4, 1 bromobutane. You can see it has turbidity in it. I would say this turbidity happened pretty much as soon as I added the halide into it. So it's quite quick. Number 5, 2 chloro 2 methyl propane or tertiary butyl chloride. Number 6, allyl chloride. Number 7, benzyl chloride. Number 8, bromobenzene. Number 9, bromocyclohexane. And this is number 10, bromocyclopentane. And you can just see the timing. So I would say in number 4, number 6, and in number 7, the cloudiness and the precipitate aid basically occurred immediately as soon as I added the alkyl halide into it, and with time it will bit get dense. These are the summarized results of SN2 reactions at room temperature. So these are the compounds which took less than a minute to react, and these compounds did not react at room temperature under these conditions. The time is 5 minutes. Since for 5 minutes they are sitting at room temperature. Now I will take the test tube and put it in the warm water bath. The temperature should be 50 degrees centigrade. Now do not increase the temperature more, because otherwise the acetone will evaporate. And I will take the test tubes which do not have any precipitate or cloudiness, and then I will warm it in the water bath for about 1 minute, and then I will cool it and then record the observation. Heating the test tube number 1 for about a minute. So I have heated all the test tube except 4, 6 and 7, because in these test tubes we saw the precipitate or the cloudiness at the room temperature. And so I have heated all the other test tubes into the water bath, and make sure the temperature of the water bath should not go beyond 50 degree, as I already mentioned before, because the acetone boiling point is 56, right? So acetone will evaporate. So I've heated it for 1 minute and then I let it cool at room temperature. So these are the observations now at the elevated temperature. Number 1, number 2. So number 2 is 2 bromobutane. So you can see the precipitate there, or like kind of dense cloudiness. Number 3, which is 1-chlorobutane. Number 5, 2-methylpropane tertiary butyl chloride. Number 8, bromobenzene. Number 9, bromocyclohexane. And number 10, bromocyclopentane. Now the results of SN2 reactions at elevated temperature. These compounds reacted and these two did not react at all. Now, so once you are done, these test tubes you are going to dispose of in the halogenated waste, right? So pretty much everything has a halide in it, right? So these solutions will go into the halogenated waste. Then you will wash these test tubes, label them again, and make it ready for the part B. So the second part of this experiment is silver nitrate in ethanol. So this is basically the silver nitrate in ethanol. And so that's the reagent we are going to use. So I'm going to add 2 milliliters of the this reagent into all the test tubes separately. And then I will add those 10 alkyl halides which we used already in the part A. And then we will see the reactivities of these alkyl halides under SN1 reaction. So the reagent what we are going to use is the silver nitrate dissolved in ethanol, right? So what happens in the reaction, this is the alkyl halide which we are going to add into the reagent, right? So first of all it has to ionize and give you the carbocation, and to this carbocation nucleophile will attack to get the product. Since we are using silver nitrate, basically the nitrate ion is a poor nucleophile and ethanol is a polar protic solvent which supports the SN1 conditions. So the silver ion, it has the ability to coordinate with the leaving halide because this is a leaving group, right? So silver ion, it comes from the reagent. So they will basically combine together to get the precipitate of silver chloride. And since we are getting the precipitate, the reaction will go forward. Now we have the carbocation here. To this carbocation, the nucleophile will attack and will give you the product. So this is the case with the halide, halides, alkyl halides, and similar case you will see with the alkyl bromides. So silver chloride and silver bromide, they both will get precipitate. In all the test tubes, you can see now there is 2 milliliters of the silver nitrate in ethanol. So now I'm going to add 4 drops of these alkyl halides using the same number scheme which I have used in the part A. To avoid the cross contamination and spoiling the results, make sure you're going to use every time separate pipette. So now all the solutions have basically these corresponding halides as per the number scheme what we have used in part A. So number 1, it didn't show anything. When I added it, there was no immediate change of the cloudiness or precipitation. Now I'll shake it and then you can see if you can observe anything. This is at room temperature, right? So if you can a little bit see, the timer is on, but there is nothing. Okay, then let's reset it. For the second one I got actually immediate precipitate. When I added it, it just shows immediate precipitate. Third one, let me mix it properly, start the timer. And I let it sit like for 3 minutes and then again I will observe it, but it didn't show after proper mixing. it didn't show. It's pretty much clear. Then comes fourth one, right? So fourth one also gave me, it's not very dense precipitate as you have seen in the second one, but a cloudiness. That's the fourth. Immediate, basically cloudiness in fourth one. Fifth, very heavy precipitate immediately. Sixth, slight precipitate. Not precipitate, I should say, just a cloudiness. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. Kind of dense precipitate. It readily gave me this, reaction. And then comes number 10, very heavy precipitate. Compounds which reacted at room temperature in less than a minute under SN1 conditions. This compound took almost 5 minutes to react. And these are the compounds which did not react at all under these conditions. So heat the test tube in the water bath. Temperature is maintained close to 80 degrees centigrade. So I'm going to heat those test tubes into the water bath for 1 minute, and then I will cool them at room temperature and then record the observations. I kind of waited more than 3 minutes for these number 1, number 3 and number 8 test tubes so that it will show some results like cloudiness or precipitate, but they didn't. Then I've heated them in the water bath for at 80 degrees centigrade for 1 minute, and then I cooled it down. So these are the observations for number 1. Number 2, we already discussed that. Just one more time. Number 3, again, I heated it for 1 minute and then cooled it down. It didn't give any precipitate at room temperature, but this is a reaction. This is the observation at the elevated temperature. Number 4, so that the cloudiness actually it increased. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. It didn't give any precipitate, right, at room temperature. So I heated it, cooled it down. Now these are the results. Number 9. Number 10. So basically I have only heated number 1, number 3 and number 8. All other test tubes, since they showed some sort of cloudiness or precipitate, so I did not heat them. But then with time, some of the cloudiness or the precipitate, it just increased. Now the results at elevated temperature for SN1 conditions, these two compounds reacted, and this one did not react at all. Make sure you are going to write the detailed observations, right? In case of the room temperature, and then the second part was at the elevated temperature. So basically the reactive halides, they give precipitate within 3 minutes. Some of them readily react at room temperature, and moderately reactive halides give a precipitate when heated. And unreactive halides, they will not give any precipitate, any cloudiness, even at the elevated temperature. Record your observations clearly. This will help you in writing the lab report. You can use such terms like a dense precipitate, slight precipitate, dense cloudiness, slight cloudiness, no precipitate or cloudiness, but you're gonna avoid any color changes. This will all help you in differentiating the reactivities of the alkyl halides towards SN1 and SN2 conditions. Also, while writing the report, keep in mind what you have observed in the experiment. Your conclusions should not solely be based on what you have learned in the lecture. That's all in this experiment. Thank you for watching.